So in this version of the code, we do things differently based on whether A is less than or equal to B or A is greater than B. Now we consider another way to solve the problem. So we want to make sure A is less than or equal to B. Then we can always use this branch. So in order to ensure A is less than or equal to B, what we do is we first check whether A is greater than B. When that is the case, we will swap the content of A and B. So after we do that, then we should just be able to do this. So we want to explore this alternative solution idea in order to teach you some new concepts. So how do we swap the value of two variables A and B? So this is one attempt at doing that. So I remember when I started learning programming, I actually struggled quite a bit with the swapping variables. It actually left some mark on my mind. So it's quite possible I write some code to this effect. So let's see whether this version works. So let's put it in here. So the input we want here, let's do this 7.3. So after we run it, we got a 7.0. So that is wrong. So for 7.3, we would expect the answer of 3.2. 3 days we can do this a pair of two different colored socks, and then 2 more days to go after that. So there's something wrong here. So how do we find out why this is wrong? So the way to find out what things are wrong is we figure out what are the content of the variables. So we believe that after this point, this swapping, the variable should be certain value, but maybe what we thought was wrong. So in order to do that, we will print out the value of A and B. So in order to make the printed out message a little bit easier to read, so let's put some string, add some string in the beginning to identify where this is printed. So let's do this, say before if we print this, and let's print this after if, and let's see what happens. Okay, so we see before if we have 7.3 and after if we have 7.7. So even though we wanted to have 3.7, so that explains why we get 7.0 down here. But maybe it's not immediately clear why we get 7.7 here. So in order to understand that, we can add another if statement, another print statement in between the operations. So let's call this after B equals A. So after this assignment, what are the values? Okay, so what we see is after B equals A, we already have 7.7. So after this, if we have 7.7 here, when we do A equals B, then of course we still have 7.7. And it's actually by this point it should be obvious that after B equals A, we should have 7.7, because at this point we have A equals 7, B equals 3. But this B equals A means take whatever value that is currently in A, assign it to B. So we take the 7, which is currently in A, and then we put it in B. So what was originally in B got overwritten. So the value was lost. So the 3 value was lost. At this point, we just have 7.7. So this is this swap doesn't work. So to swap value of A and B, we can't just do B equals A equals B. We need to be a little bit more do a little bit more work than that. So these are the process of debugging. So if it's not obvious to you what to do at this point, I encourage you to think about 2 cups. So you have one cup have lemonade, the other cup have iced tea. Now what I ask you to do is we want to swap the content of the 2 cups. So I want the cup originally have lemonade to have the iced tea, and vice versa. So how do you do it? I think if you are posed with this problem, then it's pretty obvious that you need another cup. You can't just work with the two of them to swap. I guess you need some kind of magic in order to do that. And the same is true for swapping the value of two variables. So you need a third variable that can hold the content. So with a third cup, you can put the lemonade in the third cup. Now the lemonade cup is empty. You can pour the iced tea cup in there. And now this original iced tea cup is empty. You can pour the lemonade in the third cup in here. So this is essentially what's happening with swapping. So we introduce a new temporary variable. So I call that TMP, stand for temporary. So we first do this temp equal B. So you can think of this as pouring the lemonade in cup B to this third cup. But this assignment in programming, there's a difference here in that after we pour the lemonade, iced tea into the B still contains iced tea. So I guess this is a little bit like magic. If the cup have something, you pour it out, the cup still have the same thing. So of course here we're just copying the value. So what's the value originally in B is still there. And the second, when we assign B equals A, there's also a difference from the analogy of pouring liquid. So that is the B originally contains something. So in order to put the new value in, I guess if it's in cup, you need to dump whatever that's in B, and then you can pour the content in A into the content into B. And here there's no explicit dumping, but just that whatever stored there is got overwritten. So you can think of erasing and then a new value put in. So the value in B was lost. But these 3 lines of code form an idiom to swap two variables using a third variable. So the sequence actually matters. So I think if you are using these 3 statements, any other sequence will fail. So I'm quite sure that over your programming experience, you're going to make error when you need to swap or do something similar. You actually made a mistake. So I remember myself kind of had a bug in this kind of swapping a couple of times.